Webinars are an incredible way to capture leads and convert them into loyal customers. And with the right tools, you can set up a high converting funnel in no time. Let's get started. For all things marketing, web design and development, and business building, this is your YouTube channel. We upload a couple of really cool videos each week. So if you end up liking this one, you are more than welcome to hit that subscribe button to stay notified on when we publish new content. All right, so before we jump into building our webinar funnel, let's first break down why you may even want to consider building one. Simply put, a webinar funnel is a series of steps designed to guide potential customers from registering for your webinar all the way to making a purchase. It's a powerful strategy because it not only captures leads, but also nurtures them through valuable content, which ultimately leads to higher conversions. In fact, businesses that use webinars as part of their marketing strategy see up to a 55% increase in sales. We've tested webinars here at Thrive Themes. We've seen our customers using them in action. So in case there were any doubts, webinars still work. To create our webinar funnel, we're going to be using Thrive Suite, which is an all-in-one toolbox for WordPress. Thrive Suite includes Thrive Architect for building and designing landing pages, Thrive Leads for capturing emails, and Thrive Quiz Builder for engaging your audience. These tools make it super easy to create a professional and effective webinar funnel. All right, so our webinar funnel is going to consist of 5 steps. First, we're going to be designing a landing page, and we're going to be using Thrive Architect to do this super fast. Next, we're going to be setting up our registration form. This is where visitors will sign up for our webinar. You want to remember to just, keep it simple, ask for essential information like their name and email, make it easy for them to sign up. You can also use Thrive Quiz Builder to segment your audience based on their interests, but you can learn more about that in this video here. We're then going to integrate our email marketing service with Thrive Suite, craft a series of emails to nurture our leads, remind them about their upcoming webinar, provide valuable content, and build anticipation for the big event. Step 4 is actually hosting the webinar. You can use something like Webinar Jam or just use Zoom if you want to keep it super simple. Either way, what I often recommend people do is embed the webinar recording on an actual landing page on your site. So it really doesn't matter which tool you use to host the actual webinar. Tools like Webinar Jam do come with some more features like, live surveys and the possibility of interacting with your audience in a more engaging way. But the reason why I often encourage users to embed them on their own website is because it allows you even more creative control to design a landing page that pushes visitors to convert on your offer. If you send visitors to your Zoom meeting room or to a Webinar Jam room, it's still fine, don't take me wrong, but users won't be able to scroll down and see a buy now button and testimonials and an actual sales page that really pushes them to take action during your event. And last but not least, we want to make sure that we follow up after our webinar to either convince our guests to take action on our offer, or for those that did convert during the recording, it's a good chance for us to offer them an upsell to try to increase our revenue per lead. All right, let's get busy. Perfect. So let's start designing our funnel. In this case, let's just operate under the assumption that Tony here is a fitness coach, and I'm going to be hosting a webinar for other professionals in the fitness space. I want to teach people how to get more people over into their gyms, how they can improve their classes, and overall, I just want to teach more professionals how they can increase their income. So step number 1, as we've covered, is to design a landing page that can help us get there. So let's go ahead and do that. First things first, make sure that you've got Thrive Suite properly installed on your WordPress website. If you haven't done that, if you don't even know how to get there, there is a link here. There's a video popping up on screen that will walk you through how to do that. It's really easy. And then all we got to do is, once we've got Thrive Architect installed on our WordPress website, is add a new page. I'm going to call this funnel landing page. Let's go ahead and trigger this up with Thrive Architect. And the beautiful thing about Thrive Architect is that we've got templates that we can pick from. If we're thinking about starting a webinar funnel, you probably especially as you're starting out your business, you don't want to put in a whole lot of time and resources into designing pages. Just use templates. Templates can get you up and running in no time. So let's do that. Let's use a pre-built landing page template. Perfect. And inside the Thrive Architect landing page library, I want to go into legacy landing page designs. Look for the one that says bonus. I think it's towards the bottom. And here inside bonus, there's one that I really like, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this one that says runner. We actually designed this page for one of you guys. I should probably go back to doing some more rating and roasting customer websites, because we used to design some pages for you all and you used to like all of those. So I'll see about doing some more of those. So this one I think could work really well because it is a landing page. I don't have any headers, no footers. People that land on this page are not going to get distracted with anything other than seeing call to actions that prompts them to sign up for the webinar. So here, I'm not going to spend too much time customizing the copy or any of that. I'm going to show you some cool things like how easy it is to replace that image with an image of your own. So let's just operate to the assumption that let's just use that one. That one looks kind of fitness. I don't have any pictures of me in fitness clothes. So here, let's just change this really quick to discover how to increase your revenue. The one webinar that can change it all for your fitness business. And here we're going to do sign up, or actually let's do reserve my spot. Let's change the icon here. Change icon. Let's do let's do that. Let's do a check mark. Reserve my spot. Discover how to increase your revenue. The one webinar that can change it all for your fitness business. Get to know Tony Lewis, and so forth and so on. You get the gist of it, right? I mean, you can build up your authority using logos of magazines that you've been featured in, or newspapers, success stories of people that have already worked with you, and so forth and so on. And how much time have we spent so far? Probably like a couple of minutes just getting our first step completed, which is setting up our landing page. Now, step 2 is going to be, well, let's just say that there's a couple of different ways to tackle step 2, which is creating a registration form for people to sign up to our webinar. Depending on the tool that you're going to be using, for example, if you're using Webinar Jam, you may want to grab their opt-in form or their registration form and embed it on this landing page via HTML. That could be an option if you're planning on doing your webinar on Zoom. You can just put people inside your email marketing service, and when the time comes, just send them via email the link to your Zoom meeting. Or since, we've already said this, and if you're planning on embedding your webinar on your website, you can just put people inside your email marketing service, whether that's ActiveCampaign, ConvertKit, Drip, up to you. And again, when the time comes, just send them a link to your website where you're going to be hosting the recording. It's that simple. But let's see about actually creating the registration form. So what I would probably do, because it's just very easy for me to do it, is to go inside the backend of WordPress, create a new lightbox here, add a new lightbox. Let's do webinar registration form. Let's hit publish. Launch the light form with Thrive Architect. And here, it's just as simple as doing a lead generation form. Boom. And again, I would try to keep it simple, like make it compelling and convincing enough for people to just type in their name and email. If it really is necessary for your type of business to get their address or their phone number, then you can most certainly do that as well. I mean, you can already see the humongous amount of forms that you can choose from here. But in my case, I'm just going to keep it super simple. I'm going to get people to opt in with their name and email address. And here, let's type in a heading. Let's do "You're one step away." Let's do an H2. Let's make it black. Center that. Let me duplicate that actually. Let's make this 22. 22. Sign up to our webinar and boost your income. And here, is where the magic gets to happen. So in my case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect this registration form with my email marketing service. How do you do that? Super simple. Let me show you. Let's go back to the back end of our WordPress website. Inside Thrive Dashboard, let's go to Thrive Dashboard. And here, if you go into API connections, this is where you get to manage all of the API connections that allows you to have your website talk to different services. For example, I have an API connection here with Stripe, and this allows me to charge for my Thrive Apprentice membership. And in this case, we're going to add a new one. It's going to be of type email marketing, and you can see you can connect this to ActiveCampaign, Aweber, ConvertKit, Drip, Fluent CRM, HubSpot, and so forth and so on. There's plenty of them for you to pick from. In my case, I'm using Drip. And here, if I jump into Drip, I can just go into settings, account, and I'm not actually going to go in there because I don't want you to look at my API key and all of my other details, but I could just grab my account details. It essentially consists of your user ID and your API token key. You can just paste them in here. It's literally going to take you like less than a minute, and voila, you can see that my Drip connection is ready. I can already take the name and email that people are going to input into my Thrive Lightbox right here. Let me hit save, let me refresh, and I'm going to be able to send that over into Drip immediately. So form, add connection. My connection to Drip is now ready and available. I can now add people into a campaign inside Drip. For example, my newsletter campaign, I can tag people, like for example, it probably makes sense to tag them as webinar. And you can customize the fields that you're going to be mapping inside your email marketing service. For example, I think Drip uses first name and last name as first name and last name. And you can choose whether you want to do a single opt-in or a double opt-in. Great. So that would be the registration form, but we're not quite done yet. I want to go back to my landing page. Again, let's hit save really quick. Hit refresh. And now I need to connect all of my call to actions to trigger that light form, that light box. So here, animation and action, instead of doing a regular link, we're going to be doing a light box. Which light box? It's going to be the webinar registration light box. And let's give it a little animation there to make it look nice. Slide in from bottom, apply, save, and let's see what that looks like. Let's preview the page. Boom, discover how to increase your revenue. The one webinar that can change it all for your fitness business. Reserve my spot. That triggers the light box, and you can just opt in. Again, if you opt in with again, you put in your name, you put in your email, you hit sign up, and that is going to get sent to Drip immediately. All right, let's go into step number 3, which is to craft up a proper email sequence. Okay, so I'm going to be honest with you. This is a fake webinar funnel. I'm not actually a fitness professional. I'm not planning on doing a webinar, but I do want to have a little bit of a conversation about how you would start thinking about crafting up a proper email sequence, because it's probably one of the most important things. How well and how meticulously you think about that email workflow that you're going to be putting people in is going to determine whether people show up at your webinar or not. So how would I go about doing a email sequence that tries to nurture and warm people up? 2 things that you have to think about. Number 1, how long is it going to be until you actually host the webinar? You probably want to start, like you don't probably want to leave a whole lot of room, like maybe 7-10 days, and you got 7 to 10 days to warm and nurture people by sending them content, sending them emails, and showing off or presenting yourself as an authority in the space to, try to really get them hyped up about showing up at your webinar. And there is also one thing that I want to talk about, which is, look, in this day and age, there's no reason for you not to embrace AI, which is why it's a good thing. We got something called ChatGPT. You can use Gemini. You can use so many of them. I'm using the pro version of ChatGPT, but you can use the free version and it's going to be just as good. And let's just ask ChatGPT, hey, I am a fitness professional about to do a webinar in 10 days about how to help fitness professionals increase their revenues, doing online classes and just getting people, helping them get more subscribers and members to their gym. Can you help me come up with an email sequence that nurtures people or nurtures signups until the day of the webinar? I want to try to get as many people to show up as possible. Remember, we're trying to get them hyped up about the fact that we can help them make more money. Let's see what that does. Okay, so this came up with a 7-day email sequence, or not 7-day, but it came up with 7 different emails. Email number 1 is a confirmation and welcome email. You're in, welcome to our exclusive webinar. Thank you for signing up. It even came up with a name for our webinar, maximizing your revenue, strategies for fitness professionals. We're thrilled to have you join us. In this webinar, you're going to learn proven strategies to increase your revenue, techniques to attract more subscribers, expert tips to elevate your fitness business to the next level, and so forth and so on. Mark your calendar, blah, blah, blah. All right, email number 2, pain points and solutions. Struggling to increase your fitness revenue? We've got your solutions, answers. Hey name, are you finding it challenging to boost your fitness revenue? You're not alone. Many fitness professionals face the same struggle. Great. We're going to cover how to leverage online classes to expand your reach, effective marketing techniques to attract new members, and practical tips to enhance member retention. Perfect. I'm not going to go through all of the different emails, but you can kind of see how this is doing the heavy lifting for you, which is the whole point about leveraging AI. Now, would I use these emails word for word as they are? Probably not. I would probably have to customize, the content in and of itself. Like, I don't know if I'm actually going to be talking about my personal journey. Probably would, but I don't know if I'm going to have an interactive Q&A session. I probably would, but customize the emails to make sure that the tone sounds a lot like you, because to me that's the most important thing, and to make sure that the actual content makes sense. If you're not going to be offering insider tips, then there's no point in including that in your email. But yeah, so before we wrap it up with ChatGPT, step 4 would be to host the webinar itself. That's kind of hard for me to show off because, again, it really comes down to what tool you're going to be using. There's many of them. We've already discussed 2 of them. Zoom is probably the easiest way of doing it. Webinar Jam is probably going to be a little bit more expensive for you, but it will make it make it more fun throughout the actual webinar. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. The content of the webinar itself and how well you present your offer at the end of the day is what's going to matter. The platform itself, I don't think it's the most important thing. And regardless, remember, I would probably try to put it on my website, not send people to Zoom or to Webinar Jam. Just give them a URL where the recording will be embedded and have them look at the offer underneath it. That would probably be the best thing. But then, since we do need, for step 5, like a follow-up email sequence, let's just have ChatGPT help us out with that.
Perfect. So can you now come up with a follow-up email sequence? I need 2 different types. One that nurtures people. One that convinces people to sign up for my one-on-one sessions. This would be an upsell for people who purchased my ebook during the webinar. And another different sequence for people who didn't purchase my book during the webinar.
Let's see what that does. All right, so here's 2 follow-up email sequences. Okay, so this one's for ebook purchasers, which would be our upsell. And the cool thing is that since it doesn't actually know when we want to email or blast these things out, it's just numbering them, like, okay, here's email number 1 in the sequence, email number 2, but it's not actually telling us you got to send this out on this day or that day, because it obviously doesn't know. So that's why it's important that you actually have a timeline. Timeline is actually very important. some things to think about. All right, so let's take a look at what it did here. Follow-up email sequence for ebook purchasers. So this is the upsell to one-on-one sessions with me that I want to sell people that bought the ebook during the webinar. So email 1, thank you, and next steps. Thank you for your purchase. Ready to take the next step? Hey, thank you for purchasing our ebook, Maximizing Your Fitness Revenue. I hope you're already finding it valuable, blah, blah, blah. In this personalized session, I'm going to develop a tailored plan to boost your revenue, address your unique challenges and opportunities, and ensure you're on the fastest path to success. Book a session. Email number 2, highlighting the benefits. Here's what you're going to get: a deep dive into your current business model, actionable steps tailored to your goals, and so forth and so on. Email 3, client success stories. I want to share some success stories from clients who have benefited from our one-on-one sessions. Increase their monthly revenue by 30% after just 2 sessions. I mean, this is good stuff. I mean, this is really what the workflow of your funnel should pretty much look like. Like, you know, I'm one of those people, I'm a little hectic about the whole AI mania, but this is really cool because it's doing the heavy lifting for you. I want you to concentrate on what really matters, which is putting in the time into creating content that is valuable, that people can actually benefit from. And things like this, which is the infrastructure and logistics. If you can leverage Thrive Architect to just fire up a template for you, then do so. And if you can leverage ChatGPT or Gemini or something else to do the heavy lifting for you when it comes to email sequences, then do so. It's absolutely worth it. One more thing that is worth mentioning when you're designing funnels: since you're using Thrive Suite to build your entire funnel, there's no reason for you not to be A/B testing everything about it. You can A/B test the copy on your landing page, the graphics, the placement of your call to actions, even the color of your buttons. Thrive Optimize is included in Thrive Suite, so use it. Now remember that you don't have to test more than one variable at a time. In fact, I encourage you not to do that, because if not, you're not going to know what exactly is increasing or decreasing your conversions. But it never hurts to be continuously running tests to see if there's something that can help us grab even more leads. And that's it. We've covered all of the steps to create a high converting webinar funnel using Thrive Suite. I hope you found this guide helpful. It is your time to give me a thumbs up button if you found the video useful. And it's also time for you to decide if you want to subscribe to our channel. Check out the description box below though if you want to learn more information about Thrive Suite. And yeah, thank you so much for your time. Happy funnel building.